What if I told you you're already winning, even if you can't see it yet? Not because you're famous, not because you're rich, but because you're here, breathing, getting back up again when everything inside you says you can't. In this age of constant comparison and impossible expectations, many men feel lost, drained, like they're never enough. Modern anxiety, social pressure, and fear of failure whisper that you're falling behind. But the Stoic truth is different. The simple act of moving forward is already a victory. This video won't give you magic solutions. It offers something far more real, a mindset that's endured for centuries, one used by emperors, soldiers, and thinkers to face chaos with calm. Here, you'll learn how to apply Stoic philosophy to stop worrying, strengthen your mind, and take back control of your daily life. You're not alone. Every strong man you admire has faced doubt. What made them different wasn't a lack of fear, but the courage to keep moving anyway. So stay. This isn't just another video, it's a reminder. You don't have to be perfect. You just can't give up. If this resonates, share it with someone who needs to be reminded of their strength. Because as long as you're still moving, you're already winning. 1. Motion is the real measure of success. Don't measure your worth by someone else's scoreboard. You're not a title. You're not a paycheck. You're not last year's accomplishments or today's delays. You're the step you took this morning when you didn't feel like getting out of bed. You're the calm you kept when everything around you was on fire. You are motion. And as long as you're moving, you're still winning. In Detroit, a young father walks to his second job as the morning sky starts to turn light over cracked sidewalks. No one claps. No one calls his name, but there he is, worn shoes, steady spine, moving forward, fighting quietly, and he doesn't even know it, but he's a modern-day Stoic, because success isn't what's seen from the outside, it's what's built inside, in silent resistance. They told us that winning means being the best, being seen, and sand-tacking trophies. But the Stoics taught something else. Winning means not giving in. It's choosing to breathe when anxiety tightens your chest. It's taking one more step when the path ahead disappears. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations in comfort. He wrote them during plagues, wars, betrayals, not seeking applause, just refusing to break. You don't need a standing ovation to prove your effort. You need to remind yourself that every step, even the small ones, is a blow against giving up. When you choose to keep going, you choose freedom. And that is power. Because even when nothing around you changes, something inside you shifts. And that's enough for today. Speed doesn't matter. What matters is consistency. A river doesn't carve stone with force, it does it with persistence. You're no different. Progress doesn't always show up in the mirror. Sometimes it's in how you no longer explode. How do you breathe deeper? How you hold your ground instead of losing yourself. How you build instead of destroying. If you're stuck in doubt, if your mind tells you it's too late, that it's pointless, silence it with one move, just one. Walk. Do one thing that brings you closer to who you want to be. A phone call, a page written, one more rep in the gym. That small gesture, no matter how minor, puts you in motion. And motion is victory. When life backs you into a corner, don't respond with complaints. Respond with presence, with discipline, with that unshakable stillness that doesn't need to prove anything because it's already survived worse. The man who keeps going is not weak. He's the most dangerous because he no longer depends on outcomes. He trusts the process. Don't demand perfection. Demand that you keep going. Let your victory be a habit, not a highlight. You don't have to sprint. You don't have to shout. You just have to move. One more day, one more inch. One more choice. 2. Struggles don't stop you, they shape you. If everything came easily, nothing would have value. If life never tested you, you'd never grow. You know this. You feel it every time something shakes your world, and you choose not to break. That quiet decision is the beginning of your transformation. You're not broken. You're being forged. Like a blade crafted in fire, you're shaped through heat, hammer, and repetition. And every blow, every spark, every test, it doesn't destroy you. It defines you. On the outskirts, an old boxing coach trains alone in a rundown gym. Over 50, knees worn out, scars you can't see. He lost fights, he lost family, he lost money, but he never lost his fire. He says his greatest victory was refusing to quit when he had nothing left. Every morning before sunrise, he hits the bag with the same drive he had at 20. No one films him, no one cheers. But he's there, building discipline, stoking purpose. He doesn't train to win a fight. He trains not to lose himself. That's how Stoic philosophy works. It's not about escaping pain, it's about using it. Epictetus, once a slave, taught this with brutal honesty. You don't control what happens to you, you control how you respond. That's freedom. That's inner strength. Every challenge is a test, and if you're willing to take the hit and stay standing, you're building a mind that doesn't fold in the wind. Difficulty isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. It's your mirror. It reveals who you really are when the masks fall away, when no one claps, when you're overlooked, when everything feels uphill. That's where character is born. Not in the easy days, but in the moments you doubt yourself and still take another step. And if that's you right now, if you're lost in chaos, uncertain and afraid, hear this clearly. You're exactly where your rebirth begins. Stop asking why this is happening. Start asking who you're becoming because of it. Use every setback as one more stone in the foundation you're building. Write in your journal what pain taught you today. Meditate for 5 quiet minutes, not to escape your thoughts, but to face them without flinching. And keep your body in motion. Train, walk, let your breath keep flowing. The Stoic doesn't wait to feel good to act, he acts, and that makes him strong. You don't need to eliminate the chaos, you just need to move through it with composure. You don't need a perfect plan, just the will to keep going. And if today was hard, if everything feels like it's burning, breathe. You're in the forge. You're being tempered. Tomorrow your edge will be sharper, your presence is stronger, and your mind unshakable. You're not falling apart, you're taking shape. You're not lost, you're becoming. So don't run from the fire, walk through it, because if you can handle the pressure, you'll come out harder, wiser, and ready for anything. And even if no one sees it, that's already a win. 3. Overthinking kills progress. Action builds clarity. When you freeze waiting for everything to make sense, the world doesn't stop with you. Time keeps moving, and you fall behind, not because you lack the ability, but because you became a prisoner of your own thoughts. Overthinking doesn't make you wiser, it just makes you slower, more afraid, more dependent on certainties that may never come. A Stoic doesn't wait for guarantees, he moves forward regardless. I knew a young man who had everything going for him, intelligence, talent, health, but he couldn't decide. He delayed. He analyzed every step, every potential failure, and every opinion around him. He wanted to start his own business, quit the job he hated, move to a new place, but he did nothing. He kept waiting for the perfect moment. That moment never came. And meanwhile, the years slipped through his hands like water he couldn't hold. I still remember his words. I think so much, I've become my own obstacle. That's not uncommon. It happens to many of us. Thinking feels safe. You don't risk, you don't lose, but you don't win either. And the cost of inaction is higher than a bad decision. Because every day you don't move is one more day away from the man you could have become. Stoicism faces you with that hard truth. No action, no progress. If you don't move, you stagnate. And what doesn't grow, rots. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca wrote from exile. He didn't wait for the empire to give back what it took. He wrote, he reflected, he taught, he applied. Because he understood that clarity doesn't come before action, it comes after. First, you leap. Then you understand, then you improve. That's how character is forged. That's how confidence is built. Not on paper, but in motion. Even if your voice shakes, even if you're unsure, even if you fail. And if right now you're stuck, doubting, unsure which direction to take, stop thinking. Don't run more circles in your head. Do something. One thing. Move a single piece. Call someone you've been avoiding. Write the email. Wake up earlier. Start. You don't need to finish everything today. You just need to break the stillness. Because motion is medicine for the soul. Here's a Stoic practice you can use now. Every morning, write down one action, just one that gets you closer to who you want to become. Not a theory, not a wish, something physical. And at the end of the day, ask yourself, did I do it? If the answer is yes, you won. If no, try again tomorrow. That daily repetition is the path. That's the silent victory no one sees, but it changes everything. You don't need total clarity to act. You just need courage to begin, and each step you take will reveal the next. So drop the weight of doubt and walk. You're not lost, you're just waiting to move, and as long as you do, you're already winning. 4. Age doesn't limit you, inaction does. If you believe it's too late, then you've already lost. But if you decide to move, even just a little, then you're still in the fight. Age isn't a wall, it's just a number on the calendar. What truly stops you is the belief that you can't change anymore. That belief is the real prison. Marcus Aurelius was over 40 when he wrote the words millions still quote today. He didn't do it in youth or comfort. He did it under the weight of an empire and all its responsibilities. And yet, he still found the strength to examine his mind and sharpen his soul. Epictetus was born a slave. He didn't study Stoic philosophy in a university classroom. He learned it by observing his own suffering, breathing with intention, and questioning every thought. He taught that it doesn't matter what you've lived through if you're willing to choose who you want to become, now, not later. No man is free if he is not master of himself. That includes the moment you decide to rewrite your story, not tomorrow, but today. Seneca said that as long as you're alive, you still have the chance to live well. It doesn't matter how much time you've wasted. What matters is what you do with the time you have left. Stoicism doesn't ask how old you are, it asks how much courage you're willing to bring to the table. If you're still breathing, you can still grow. And if you can still grow, you're not done. You're just getting started, if you choose to. The problem isn't your age, it's your comfort. It's that quiet voice that whispers, your time has passed, it's too late to start. But the truth is this, there is no moment more powerful than now. The past can't move. The future isn't here yet. But you can take a step, even a small one, even if it hurts. Because every step that defies stagnation is an act of rebellion, a declaration of power. And if you doubt it, ask yourself this. How many men do you admire who bloomed late in life? Not because they were extraordinary, but because they refused to die on the inside. You can too. You don't need promises of success. You just need one decision. Every day. Like Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, live it. Silent action speaks louder than any intention. Try this today. Choose one new habit, just one. Something that challenges your old pattern. Wake up 30 minutes earlier, write one page, read one Stoic reflection. Do 10 push-ups, not for your body, but for your mind. Because every act matters. Every day counts. And if you do it today, even imperfectly, you've already broken the chain of inertia. Don't ask how much time you have left. Ask how much power you're willing to use right now. Don't apologize for starting late. Just start. Because the man who dares to move forward when everyone else thinks it's too late, that man is more alive than ever. And if that man is you, you're already winning. 5. Gratitude turns chaos into peace. If all you ever see is what you're missing, you'll always feel like you're losing. If all you count are your scars, you'll forget that you're still standing. An untrained mind fixates on what's broken, on what didn't happen, on what others have that you don't. But the Stoic soul doesn't work that way. The Stoic soul sees what remains, what holds, what still beats inside you. And what you appreciate, you strengthen. That's power. Epictetus said, "He who does not value what he has is doomed to waste it." He wasn't talking about money. He was talking about time, about health, about your ability to think, to move, to choose. Gratitude isn't some soft emotion, it's clarity. It's the realization that in the middle of chaos, you still have a choice. You can still take back control over your focus, your energy, and your response. And in a world addicted to noise and distraction, that alone is resistance. Seneca wrote, "Nothing is enough for the man to whom enough is too little." A man who doesn't train his perception lives in constant hunger. He believes he needs more to feel peace. But he doesn't realize peace is not a result, it's a practice. It's a daily decision to see what still works, what hasn't cracked, what you can still build. And when you practice that perspective, anxiety turns into clarity. Marcus Aurelius didn't rule in times of ease. He ruled through plagues, wars, and betrayal. Yet each night, he wrote about the order in nature, about the opportunity hidden in every moment, because he understood that gratitude is a weapon against despair. A way to root yourself when the ground is shaking. It's not about denying what's hard. It's about anchoring yourself in what's still within your hands. You can begin today with a simple practice. Each morning, before checking your phone, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Make them real. Make them present. Doesn't matter if they're small, they have to be yours. And when your day gets hard, because it will, go back to that list. Read it, breathe, remember, not to escape the problem, but to face it with a different kind of energy. More centered, more grounded, more aware of your strength. Gratitude, when used with discipline, doesn't make you naive, it makes you unshakable. Because it anchors you. Because it pulls you away from blind craving and brings you back to what matters. It's not a trick to feel better. It's a lens to see better. And the man who sees clearly chooses with power. He chooses from present. He chooses from calm. And that calm is your edge in the chaos. You don't need a perfect life to be grateful. You just need a different view. And when you shift your focus, you'll realize you're not falling behind. You're advancing. You're growing. You're beating back the poison of dissatisfaction. And as long as you do that, as long as you honor what you still have, you're already winning. 6. Self-mastery is the ultimate victory. If you don't master your mind, someone else will. This world is designed to make you react, to explode, to chase every impulse. But the man who breathes before he speaks, the one who pauses before he acts, the one who observes his emotions without obeying them, that man is dangerous. Not because he's loud, but because he walks in control. And in a world where everyone reacts, the man who holds back is the one who wins. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Strength isn't in your voice or your size. It's in the quiet discipline of not letting the world dictate your emotions. When everything around you screams for chaos, you choose presence. When anger claws at you, you choose composure. When fear whispers, you choose to move forward. That is the core of personal power. Self-mastery isn't repression. It's direction. It's turning raw energy into focused will. It's channeling your fire to build, not burn. Seneca said it clearly, "The greatest power is mastery over yourself." Because the man who controls himself doesn't need to prove anything. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't seek approval. He acts from his center, and that center can't be bought. It's built through practice. So today, when something stirs you, don't react instantly. Stop. Breathe deeply through your nose. Count to 5. Ask yourself, does this make me freer or more of a slave? Does this serve my purpose or just my wounded pride? That pause, those few seconds of control, are more powerful than any clever comeback. Because in that moment, you choose whether to repeat the cycle or break it. The man who masters himself isn't perfect, but he is consistent. He falls, but gets up without excuses. He makes mistakes, but doesn't drown in guilt. He learns, he adjusts, he comes back stronger. Victory is in the repetition, in resisting the easy comfort, in rejecting the quick complaint, in choosing discipline over emotion. That choice, day after day, builds an unbreakable mind. Here's a Stoic practice you can apply now. At the end of the day, review your actions. Ask yourself where you were in control and where you let go. Write it down, not to judge yourself, but to strengthen yourself. That's how the Stoics trained. That's how you train. This isn't a performance. It's a process of awareness, and in that process, every second of control is worth more than 1,000 perfect words. You, who've made it this far, need to know this. You're not behind. You're awake. You're not broken. You're being forged. You've walked through the fire of reflection, effort, and silence. Every step, every moment you chose mastery over impulse brought you closer to your center. If you've endured this path without quitting, then you're already winning. Because to master yourself is to command your destiny. And there is no higher victory than that. If you've made it this far, you've already shown more strength than most. You chose to stay present. You chose to listen, reflect, and look within. And in a world that runs from silence and avoids inner truth, that's an act of courage. What you've seen on this journey isn't theory. It's not fluff. It's real, practical, grounded, and it's available to you right now. No more waiting. You've come to understand that constant movement, not instant results, is the true measure of success. Those struggles don't block your path, they forge your strength. That overthinking is a prison, but intentional action is freedom. You've seen that your age doesn't define your future. Your mindset does. That gratitude isn't passive, it's a daily act of reclaiming your focus. And that self-mastery isn't a lofty idea, it's a daily discipline that strengthens your mind, your energy, and your direction in life. You don't have to apply everything at once, you just need to begin. One step, one deep breath, One choice is better than yesterday. Then repeat. Do it daily. Make it yours. Because Stoic philosophy isn't studied to be understood, it's lived to be transformed. And that transformation doesn't happen in a day, but it begins the moment you decide to train your soul the way you train your body. Every morning is a new battle, but also a new opportunity. Write, meditate, act. Resist the urge to react. Practice patience. Cultivate presence. You don't need the world to change in order to be at peace. You only need to direct your focus toward what's in your control, your thoughts, your actions, your response to life. And now, I want to hear from you. What part of this message struck something in you? What are you facing right now? Where are you becoming stronger, even if the world doesn't see it yet? Share your story in the comments. You're not alone. This space is for men like you, who endure, who reflect, who choose the path of self-mastery over impulsive reaction. Thank you for walking this path with me. And remember, every time you choose to move forward quietly, you're already winning. There's a saying I love. Strength isn't something you can see when you look at someone. True strength isn't measured by what's visible on the outside. It's something deeper. Something that reveals itself in the way you face challenges, rise after every fall, and refuse to let life's difficulties defeat you. Sometimes, you might feel like you're just surviving, doing the bare minimum to get through the day. But what you don't realize is that even in those moments, you're showing incredible strength. This kind of strength doesn't come from lifting weights or wearing a brave face. It comes from persistence, resilience, and the quiet determination to keep moving forward even when no one is watching. In today's video, we'll explore 7 signs of inner strength inspired by Stoic philosophy. These are not flashy traits, but essential life skills that define what it means to be truly strong. And most importantly, will guide you on how to practice these Stoic lessons in your daily life to find inner peace and lasting balance. If this resonates with you, share it with someone who needs a reminder of their own quiet power. A friend, a loved one, even a coworker. It's a small act that could make a big difference. So, are you ready to recognize and embrace the strength within you? Let's begin. 1. Emotional control. Imagine this. You've spent weeks preparing for an important project. Everything seems to be on track, and then suddenly, something goes wrong. Or perhaps, out of nowhere, someone you trust criticizes you unfairly. What would you do? Most people let emotions take over. They might react with anger, frustration, or even despair. It's natural, isn't it? But reacting in the heat of the moment often leads to regret. Let me tell you a story about my boss. He is not just a leader, but a master of emotional control. I've watched him handle moments of intense pressure with a calm that is almost unshakable. When a project of ours faced an unexpected setback, everyone else panicked. Some blamed circumstances, others blamed each other. But he remained composed. He asked questions, sought solutions, and guided the team with clarity and focus. It wasn't that he didn't feel the stress. He simply chose not to let it control him. This kind of control is not about suppressing emotions, but mastering them. As Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Emotional control is the ability to focus on what you can change, while letting go of what you can't. It's the calm within the storm, the strength that turns chaos into clarity. Think about it. How often have you spoken words in anger that you wished you could take back? How many decisions made in frustration ended up making things worse? Emotions are powerful, and when unchecked, they can lead us astray. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." To live freely, you must guide your emotions with reason, not be ruled by them. The path to emotional control begins with small, intentional steps. When frustration or anger rises, pause. Take a deep breath and give yourself space to think. This moment of pause is powerful. It allows you to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Next, ask yourself a simple question. Is this within my control? The Stoics believed in focusing only on what you can influence. If the answer is no, let it go. If yes, redirect your energy towards solving the problem, not fueling the emotion. Reflection is another key. At the end of the day, Take a moment to think about situations where your emotions got the better of you. What triggered them? How could you handle them differently next time? This practice, though simple, builds awareness and resilience over time. Perspective is equally important. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? Often, what feels overwhelming in the moment becomes trivial in hindsight. Shifting your perspective reduces the emotional weight of temporary setbacks. Emotional control is not about being detached or emotionless. It's about understanding your feelings, choosing your responses, and remaining steady in the face of uncertainty. It's a practice, a commitment to responding with intention rather than impulse. With this mastery, you'll find that life's challenges become less daunting and more like opportunities to grow. True strength lies not in the absence of emotion, but in the ability to guide it wisely, step by step. 2. Taking responsibility. You are truly strong when you take responsibility for your actions. Imagine this scenario. You've promised a colleague that you'll finish part of a report by the weekend. The days pass quickly, and with other pressing tasks, you miss the deadline. What do? Many might be tempted to make excuses, blaming a heavy workload, unforeseen circumstances, or even other people. But taking responsibility means acknowledging your failure without hesitation. You own up to your mistake, apologize, and make it right. At first glance, this might seem like a small act, but it speaks volumes about your character. Responsibility is not about avoiding mistakes, it's about how you respond to them. As Seneca wisely noted, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Mistakes are inevitable. They mark the end of one attempt and the start of learning. What defines you is whether you use those moments to grow. Taking responsibility requires courage. It's not easy to admit when we're wrong, especially when the world often celebrates perfection. But let's face it, perfection is an illusion. We're all flawed, and we all stumble. True strength comes from facing those flaws head-on and choosing to make amends, rather than hiding behind excuses. I once worked with someone who exemplified this beautifully. She was leading a major project, and an oversight on her part delayed a key milestone. Instead of blaming her team or circumstances, she addressed the issue with transparency. She gathered the team, admitted her error, and presented a clear plan to resolve the setback. Her honesty inspired trust and respect, not just because she took ownership, but because she showed us how to lead with integrity. When you take responsibility, you claim ownership of your life. It's an empowering act as it reminds you that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the author of your own story. Each mistake becomes a lesson, a stepping stone toward becoming wiser and stronger. The Stoics teach us that responsibility is a path to freedom. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you take responsibility, you free yourself from the weight of excuses and blame. You choose to act rather than be acted upon, shaping your future with deliberate intention. So how can we practice taking responsibility in everyday life? Start small. If you forget to return a friend's call, don't make excuses. Apologize sincerely and set things right. When faced with criticism, resist the urge to defend yourself immediately. Reflect on whether there's truth in the feedback, and if there is, act on it. Remember, responsibility also means acknowledging your successes. It's not just about owning mistakes. It's about celebrating the times when your actions made a positive difference. This balance keeps you grounded, allowing you to grow without being weighed down by self-doubt or inflated by pride. Life will present countless moments where you must choose between blame and accountability. The easy path is often to shift the burden elsewhere, but the stronger path, the Stoic path, is to accept the truth, however uncomfortable, and use it as a catalyst for growth. Taking responsibility doesn't just make you a better colleague, friend, or partner. It makes you a better version of yourself. It builds resilience, fosters trust, and helps you create a life of integrity and purpose. In a world that often avoids accountability, those who embrace it shine as examples of what true strength looks like. Word by word, action by action, responsibility is the foundation on which greatness is built. And it is through this foundation that you stand tall, no matter what life throws your way. 3. Facing fear. Fear is a universal emotion, It whispers doubts, paints worst-case scenarios, and tells you to step back. Yet the strongest among us don't run from fear. They face it head-on. They see fear not as an enemy, but as a teacher, a stepping stone toward growth and transformation. Consider this. You're offered an opportunity to speak in front of a crowd. Fear tells you, what if you embarrass yourself? You hesitate. But then, you take a deep breath and accept. In that moment, you've chosen growth over comfort. You've decided that the possibility of failure is worth the chance to learn and to stretch beyond your current limits. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Fear often stems from how we perceive challenges, not the challenges themselves. Now think about this. You have an exam, an interview, or a difficult conversation ahead. Fear will try to stop you by highlighting what could go wrong. A strong person, however, recognizes this voice and chooses to act despite it. They understand that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward regardless of it. Let's look at smaller, everyday moments. Imagine hesitating to express your opinion in a meeting for fear of judgment. You pause, then speak up. Or consider the hesitation to try a new hobby because you fear you won't excel. You try anyway. These are victories, however small, where fear is faced and strength is built. The Stoics believed in preparing for challenges before they arrived. Seneca advised, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Anticipate difficulties, but don't let them paralyze you. Instead, see them as opportunities to practice resilience. Practical strategies can help you face fears more effectively. Start with deep breathing. When fear grips you, steady your breath to calm your racing thoughts. Break tasks into smaller steps to make daunting challenges more manageable. Remind yourself that discomfort is temporary, but growth is permanent. Facing fear isn't about being fearless. It's about action. Each time you face what scares you, you become a little braver. You start to realize that fear is often an illusion, a barrier that dissolves when confronted. Life will always present challenges, but fear doesn't have to hold you back. See it for what it is, a signpost pointing toward growth. As Epictetus said, difficulties are things that show a person what they are. Embrace them. Take that next step, however small it may seem. Because on the other side of fear lies transformation, a stronger, wiser, and more resilient you. In every fearful moment, there is an invitation to rise. The choice is yours. 4. Embracing solitude. There's a unique kind of strength in being comfortable with solitude, a strength that is often misunderstood. In a world that constantly demands connection and thrives on distractions, being alone is sometimes seen as a weakness, a failure to engage. But solitude, when embraced, is a powerful ally. It forces you to confront yourself, to reflect, and ultimately to grow. Imagine a quiet evening, with no notifications buzzing and no one seeking your attention. At first, the silence feels unfamiliar, maybe even uncomfortable. But slowly, the stillness becomes a mirror, reflecting truths about yourself that the noise of daily life often drowns out. This is the power of solitude. It strips away external influences and helps you understand who you truly are. Epictetus once said, "He who is not satisfied with a little is satisfied with nothing." Solitude teaches you to be content with what you have and to find fulfillment within yourself, rather than seeking it in external validations. It's in these quiet moments that you learn self-reliance, building the kind of resilience that no one can take away. Unlike loneliness, which is marked by a longing for connection, solitude is a choice. It's an intentional decision to step away from the chaos and nurture your inner world. This distinction matters. Loneliness drains, solitude replenishes. Consider the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his soul. In solitude, you create space to listen to your thoughts, examine your values, and align your actions with your principles. It's a sacred pause in the rush of life, a chance to recalibrate. But solitude is not always easy. It requires courage to face your thoughts without distraction, to sit with your doubts and fears rather than escape from them. Yet, this process is transformative. It's in solitude that you build emotional strength, learning to soothe your anxieties and celebrate your victories without the need for external approval. Solitude also deepens your sense of purpose. When you step away from the expectations of others, you gain clarity about what truly matters to you. You're no longer living to meet societal demands. You're living in alignment with your own goals and values. This is the kind of authenticity that creates lasting fulfillment. In today's fast-paced world, solitude is often seen as a luxury, but for the Stoics, it was essential. They understood that time alone wasn't about retreating from life, it was about preparing for it. By taking the time to strengthen your inner self, you become better equipped to handle challenges, build relationships, and contribute meaningfully to the world. To embrace solitude is to embrace the strength within yourself. It's a reminder that you are enough, just as you are. As you sit in the stillness, you discover a profound truth. Strength isn't something you find in the world, it's something you cultivate within. In solitude, there's peace. In peace, there's clarity. And in clarity, there's power. The kind of power that allows you to face life's storms with calm and confidence. Choose to embrace it. 5. Staying positive in adversity. I have a younger sister who embodies an incredible resilience. No matter what happens in her life, she greets it with a smile and unwavering positivity. She doesn't deny her struggles or pretend that everything is perfect, but she chooses to see challenges as opportunities. It's no wonder people are drawn to her warmth. Her optimism inspires others to look for the silver lining in their own lives. Watching her, I often think to myself, this is what true strength looks like. Staying positive in adversity is not about ignoring pain or dismissing hardship. It's about choosing to focus on what you can learn, what you can change, and what remains good even in the darkest moments. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This mindset is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy and a testament to the power of perspective. Adversity is inevitable. Life, with its twists and turns, challenges even the best of us. But it is within these challenges that we discover who we truly are. When you maintain a positive outlook, you shift the narrative. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and instead become the author of your response. This doesn't erase the difficulty. It transforms how you engage with it. To stay positive in adversity is to practice gratitude. Gratitude reminds us that even amid struggle, there are blessings to count. It might be the support of a loved one, the lessons gained from failure, or even the simple fact that you've endured another day. Gratitude is not a denial of difficulty. It's a recognition that beauty exists alongside it. Another key to positivity is resilience, the ability to adapt and recover. Resilience grows each time you face a setback and chooses to try again. It teaches you that adversity is temporary, a passing storm that can't define you unless you let it. As Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Trials refine us, polishing the rough edges and revealing our inner brilliance. Positivity in adversity also comes from focusing on the present. Too often we dwell on what went wrong or fear what might come next. But the Stoics remind us to anchor ourselves in the now. Epictetus advised, "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do, and you will have peace." When you embrace the present moment, you free yourself from the weight of the past and the worry of the future. Cultivating this mindset requires patience and intention. It means reframing negative thoughts, seeking solutions instead of dwelling on problems, and surrounding yourself with those who uplift rather than drain you. It also means acknowledging your emotions without letting them control you. Sadness, frustration, and fear are natural, but they don't have to dictate your actions. In adversity, positivity is a choice, a deliberate act of courage and strength. It doesn't mean pretending life is easy. It means recognizing that even when life is hard, there is still light to be found. And with that light, you can keep moving forward, one step at a time. So when challenges come, as they inevitably will, remember this: the storm will pass, but the strength and perspective you gain will remain. Hold on to that truth and let it guide you through whatever lies ahead. 6. Setting boundaries. True strength often lies in the choices we make to protect our time, energy, and peace. Setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It's about knowing your limits and honoring them. It's about saying no when you need to and yes to the things that truly matter. In a world that often demands more than we can give, boundaries are the shield that keeps us from burning out. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus taught, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." To know yourself is to understand what you can give and what you need to keep for your well-being. Boundaries are a reflection of that self-awareness. Some might view setting boundaries as selfish, but the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. When you give without limits, you deplete yourself, leaving little for others and even less for yourself. Saying no isn't rejection, it's an act of self-respect. Let me share a story. A close friend of mine once found herself overwhelmed by constant demands from colleagues, friends, and family. She rarely said no, fearing she would disappoint them. Over time, she grew exhausted and resentful. One day, she decided to make a change. She began setting clear boundaries, scheduling personal time, declining commitments she couldn't handle, and communicating her limits with kindness. The transformation was profound. Not only did she feel more energized, but the relationships that mattered most to her grew stronger. Boundaries don't just protect your energy, they also teach others how to respect you. When you set limits, you show the world that you value yourself. And in turn, people learn to value your time and presence. Boundaries also provide clarity. When you know where your limits are, decisions become easier. You no longer waste energy on things that drain you. Instead, you focus on what aligns with your goals and values. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Boundaries help you live with that kind of clarity and purpose. Practicing this kind of strength requires courage. There will be times when people push back, when they accuse you of being difficult or selfish. But remember, you're not setting boundaries to hurt others. You're setting them to protect yourself. And those who truly care about you will respect your limits, even if they don't always understand them. So how do you begin? Start by identifying what drains your energy and what replenishes it. Take note of the commitments that bring you joy and those that leave you feeling depleted. Then make a plan to prioritize the former and minimize the latter. Communicate your boundaries clearly and with kindness, but stand firm when they're tested. In setting boundaries, you don't just guard your time and energy, you create space for growth, joy, and meaningful connections. You choose what deserves your focus, and in doing so, you align your life with your deepest values. The act of setting boundaries is not a wall. It's a doorway to a healthier, more balanced life. It's a declaration that your time and energy are precious and that you are worthy of the peace that comes from protecting them. This quiet strength is what allows you to thrive, no matter the demands of the world around you. 7. Lifting others up. Strength in empowering the community. True strength is not just about overcoming your challenges. It's about using your resilience to inspire and uplift others. A truly strong person doesn't compete to tear others down. They collaborate to build them up. They understand that lifting someone else doesn't diminish their light. It makes it shine even brighter. Think of a time when someone believed in you, even when you doubted yourself. Maybe it was a teacher who encouraged you, a friend who reminded you of your worth, or a mentor who pushed you to aim higher. Their belief in you became the spark you needed to persevere. This is the power of lifting others. When you support someone, you create a ripple effect of strength and confidence that extends far beyond that single moment. The Stoics remind us of the interconnectedness of humanity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." When you help others thrive, you enrich not only their lives, but also your own. A community built on mutual support becomes stronger together, weathering challenges that no individual could face alone. But lifting others isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's as simple as listening without judgment or offering words of encouragement. These small acts of kindness can transform someone's day, even their perspective on life. Let me share a story about myself. A few years ago, I worked with someone who was struggling with a critical project. They were overwhelmed, doubting their skills, and unsure how to proceed. Instead of focusing on their challenges, I decided to step in. I sat down with them, offered constructive feedback, and helped break the tasks into manageable steps. Together, we worked through the challenges, refining each detail with care and determination. The result was remarkable. Not only did the project succeed, but it also transformed how my colleague viewed their own capabilities. They gained confidence, and our professional relationship grew stronger, built on mutual trust and respect. That moment taught me something invaluable. Lifting someone else doesn't just help them succeed. It fosters collaboration, strengthens connections, and creates shared victories that uplift everyone involved. The act of lifting others is not self-sacrifice. It's a demonstration of strength and empathy. It requires you to set aside ego and see the potential in others, even when they can't see it themselves. As Epictetus said, "Be helpful to those who are vulnerable, for you may one day find yourself in need of assistance." Supporting others is not only a gift to them, but also a practice of humility and gratitude. Sometimes, lifting others means stepping back and letting them take the spotlight. Strong individuals don't need constant recognition. They find fulfillment in the achievements of those they've supported. This kind of generosity is rare, but it's also transformative. It builds communities where success is shared, not hoarded, and where collaboration replaces competition. To lift others, start with small, intentional actions. Celebrate someone's achievements without envy. Offer encouragement when someone faces a challenge. Share your knowledge and experience freely, knowing that wisdom grows when it is shared. The Stoic perspective reminds us that life is a shared journey. Seneca advised, "No man can live happily who has regard for himself alone and turns everything to his advantage. You must live for your neighbor if you would live for yourself." By lifting others, you create a legacy of strength that extends beyond your own life. Ultimately, lifting others is an expression of your inner strength. It's a commitment to building something greater than yourself, a community where everyone can thrive. As you empower others, you reaffirm your belief in the collective power of humanity, proving that true strength lies not in isolation, but in connection. This is the essence of lifting others, a quiet, powerful act of courage that strengthens bonds, creates opportunities, and leaves a lasting impact. In lifting others, you rise with them. As we draw this journey to a close, remember that strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you cultivate every day. True inner strength lies in mastering emotional control, taking responsibility, facing fears, embracing solitude, staying positive in adversity, setting boundaries, and lifting others. These aren't just signs of resilience. They are practices that shape a fulfilling and meaningful life. Stoic philosophy reminds us that the power to grow stronger lies within our reach. Each moment offers a choice: to react impulsively or respond wisely, to focus on what you can control, and to approach life's challenges with grace and determination. The beauty of these lessons is that they are timeless and universal. They can guide you through the chaos of modern life, offering clarity and peace in even the most trying moments. I encourage you to take these lessons to heart. Practice them daily, even in small ways. When you encounter difficulties, remind yourself that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. When you help someone else rise, you strengthen the community around you. These practices will not only build your resilience, but also inspire those around you to find their quiet strength. And now, I'd love to hear from you. How have you faced adversity? Or how do you practice strength in your daily life? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's learn from and inspire one another. Together, we can grow stronger.